This episode is brought to you by Barrel Tea. Welcome to our weekly whiskey podcast. My name is Max, and normally we host this podcast in Dutch. But today we are speaking English because I have a very special guest. I got Lilya here from the Ninkasi distillery in France. Hello, how are you?
Hi Max, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Really good to have you here. I just want to have, could you introduce yourself? Who are you and where are you from?
Yeah, sure. Hello guys. My name is Lilya. I live in France. I'm born in Morocco actually, but half of my family is French. And I work for Ninkasi since 2.5 years now. And I used to be a bartender in France, in Paris, and I fell in love with whiskey.
Okay.
So here I am working for this company. Where I am the brand manager, and I start working for Ninkasi, and I was as a brand ambassador.
And if you say that you fell in love with whiskey, do you still remember which whiskey made you fall in love with it?
Actually, it's La Maison du Whisky, which is a French distributor who makes me love it. Okay. I used to work in bars, and I really liked by this time mezcal, so peated, smoky flavors, and I had the chance to work for La Maison du Whisky for a bar called the Golden Promise, which is a name of a cereal, a variety of malted barley, and they made me discover how large the palette could be of the whiskey. Okay. And I really, really, really enjoy that. And since I'm still working for the whiskey industry, so after that, with some friends, we put on a website which is called whisky/français.com. And we used to blog about all the different kinds of French whiskey, and this is how I met Ninkasi.
All right. And you mentioned you started your job as a brand ambassador. Is it the best way to describe your current job?
Right now, I am still an ambassador, but I am also the brand manager. Okay. So all the strategy behind the whiskey, I'm here.
Perfect. So we got the right person across the table for us. That's very nice. If we talk about the brand itself, when was Ninkasi founded?
In 1997. His name is Christophe Fargier. He used to travel actually around US, and he discovered a big thing about the craft breweries. And when he came back to Lyon, because he's from here and we are based in Lyon, so in the east part of France. Okay. He wanted to build a brewery, something craft with music, something to eat, very friendly, like a tap room. You produce and you sell it. Okay. So he began the first bar in Gerland in 1997. And now we have 25 bars. Oh, wow. Mostly in our region, in Rhône-Alpes, but there is some who open in different places in France, and the production is in one site, which is in Tarare, 30 minutes away from Lyon.
So it all started as a brewery, but currently, is it still this small craft beer brewery?
Yes, still we produce 42,000 hectoliters per year.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite small.
Okay. And what types of for all the beer geeks that are currently listening, is it more regular beer, or do you also have the funky experimental kinds?
We have mostly regular beers, but some of them are more experimental. Okay. We have, I don't know, maybe 30 recipes right now on top.
Oh, wow. That's quite impressive. But the name, it's not French, or what?
Ninkasi, not at all.
No.
It's actually from Sumerian times. Okay. So it's a mythological name. and it was created 5,000 years before Jesus Christ. And Ninkasi, she's a goddess. Okay, that's our version of Ninkasi. And she's a goddess, and she's a goddess of the harvest. And we call it by this time the liquid bread, because it wasn't really a beer by this time. So when Christophe built the brewery, he wanted to give back to women what they had by this time, because by this time there were only women who were brewing beers, which was called more bread.
Okay.
Like liquid bread.
And so it like the brewery started off with only beer, and when did it all shift to whiskey production?
In 2012, Christophe met Alban Perret, which is our head master distiller, and Alban asked him, "You need to make whiskey, because whiskey is the future of the beer in France." And it took a couple of years, maybe more, and we bought our first alembic, our first still in 2015.
Okay.
And we started to produce in December 2015.
Okay, so it's the whiskey part is very young and very new.
Yeah, it is.
But he used to work as a master distiller?
No. He used to, he has a really special parcours. Alban, he's a winemaker near Tarare in the Beaujolais region. He still has a vineyard with his wife, so he produces Gamay from Beaujolais. And he started to work in the wine industry to help wine producer to correct their les défauts. And after that, he started to distill wine. And he's a person who's really passionate by flavors. And so he got into whiskey, and he asked Christophe to make a distillery.
He used to work with grapes, like wines, and distilling it into a wine distillate. But if you would take a look at whiskey, it's quite easy. You just need 3 ingredients, and I want to quickly run through them, because, like, first of all, we need some water. What type of water source do you guys use?
We use the water from La Turdine. La Turdine is the small river who comes across Tarare, and it's a really, really soft water, so it's good for us to distill, but also to reduce the whiskey, because it has a really good impact. And actually there is not much impact because it's a super light and soft water.
All right. And the grains, like you guys have different recipes for brewing beers, and then you also play around with different types of grains. But if I look on the bottle, it says single malts. So it's still 100% malted barley?
Yeah, it's 100% malted barley from Pilsen barley, French one. And also we use a hint of peated barley in our recipe.
All right.
And we did distill a little bit of rye whiskey. But it's really hard to brew the rye. So we did, I think, 4 casks. And right now we stopped the producing this, but we've tasted it and it's so good. So we need to make more probably.
Okay. And yeah, yeast, it's the third ingredient, but do you also like use specialty yeast, or is it more that you also use in the brewing side of things?
No, we use Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is a regular type of yeast to brew our wash.
And if you have distilled it, like you mentioned, you are distilling it in alembic style of still?
Yeah.
Where does the still come from?
They come from Cognac. So it's I don't know the word in English. A repas, like you distill twice. Okay. so the classic still. It's made in copper. We've got two, one which is 15 hectoliter, and the other one is 25.
Okay.
But there is a little thing happening right now for Ninkasi. We are actually we have actually two new alembic,
Wow.
two new
Okay.
still, but still, and they're quite new types of alembic because they work with the low temperature.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the same when you try to heat water on top of a mountain. Okay, you can heat water with less pressure.
Yeah, because the air pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So we do the same in the still. And you know what? Today is a really special day because we start the first distillation with this kind of still today.
Oh, really interesting. So it's more like, but what are you guys hoping to get out of it from distilling on a lower temperature?
Well, we're hoping to have more taste because you don't burn some of the flavors. And also, we are hoping less cost with the energy.
Yeah, okay. So, like, for everyone at home who might not really have followed along, if you distill, you are basically separating alcohols by different boiling points. But one thing that every time when I discuss a tasting, I ask like people like, at what degree Celsius does water boil? And then there's always this one person in the room sitting there. It depends on the air pressure.
Yeah.
So if you would, for example, on the top of a mountain boil water, it would boil at a lower temperature because of the air pressure. So basically, I imagine that it's like in this still you create like a vacuum or a higher air pressure. Or how do you guys do it?
I can't tell you right now because I'm not all. I don't have all the information of the still. I will have them pretty soon, so I'll tell you
All
after.
right, so
you can post it.
That's we are a bit too early to know the ins and outs, but I can imagine like by creating a different air pressure in the still itself, you can make alcohol boil on a lower temperature.
So instead of boiling it at 90 degrees, so 90 Celsius degree, we boil it at 30, 36.
Oh wow, that's a very big difference.
Yeah.
Wow, really cool.
Yeah.
And if you after you distill it twice. That's also very comparable to Scotland. You also age it in casks. What type of casks do you guys use?
So we only or mostly use a French cask, okay? And from, of course, winemaker.
Ah, okay.
So lots of them come from our region, okay? And some of them from Burgundy, for example, some Chardonnay barrel.
All right.
Okay, lots of white wines because it's more easy to catch good flavors from white wines. And some of them are red. For example, we work with some Gamay from the Beaujolais, of course. And also new oak from France to give some toasted vanilla flavor on the whiskey.
All right, so but all the oak, no matter if it's an old wine cask or a new cask, it's basically all French oak.
Yeah, mostly.
All right, okay.
Like I'd say 98%.
When the whiskey is aged, you guys also blend these different cask types together, or do you keep them as like single casks?
Well, it depends. It depends on the whiskey. We've got currently different range of whiskeys. We've got the classic one with a bottle called Ninkasi whiskey vieilli en fût de Chardonnay, which means aged in a Chardonnay barrel. And this one is actually a triple aging.
Okay.
So first we age it in a new oak from France with a middle toast. So it gives all the pastry flavors, soft and woody flavor on the warm side. And after we put it into a Chardonnay barrel from Burgundy, and it takes lots of the grape flavor, also a bit of a floral flavor. And after that, we put it into a Viognier barrel, which is also a white wine. super close to Lyon. We take the barrels from producer where they are like 30 minutes down south Lyon.
Okay.
Like driving, so super close.
Mm-hmm.
And Viognier is mostly Condrieu wine, the appellation. Okay. So for this specific whiskey, it's a different. It's the same juice, put it into different types of cask.
But it's also the goal to keep it persistent, like produce constantly have the same whiskey available. Or
Yeah, also. Yeah, also.
might it change a bit?
Normally, it shouldn't change, but if you take a Lafroig 10 from 2012 and one from the 90s, of course, it's different, So it will change.
No, okay. I got a bottle here close to me for everyone in the Netherlands who are actually trying with us. This is also the one that you have at home, the Chardonnay cask finish. I'm very excited. Lilya, would you guide us through a quick nosing and tasting? All right.
So this juice has a good balance between sweet flavors such as tonka bean, salty caramel, caramel au beurre, caramel, kind of toffee,
Okay.
and lots of fruits like apricot, mirabelle as well, and grape.
Is it is always funny, like if I read Chardonnay cask, I always think like, okay, I'm gonna smell grapes, and now I smell it, I'm like, is it actually such like do the grapes flavor really come through the cask, or is it just like in my head like, okay, I read Chardonnay cask, so I might
it actually came from the cask. We did a masterclass with Alban Perret a year ago or 2 years ago, where we gave to people to try each different cask, separately.
Okay.
So only the French oak, and then the Chardonnay barrel, and then the Viognier, and then all together.
Okay.
Like to catch the flavor from each wood.
They also have these like subtle sweet spices, like these very nice. And it's very close to cinnamon, but it's not really.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Christmassy spices almost. And it's like you mentioned, like the tonka beans, but it's more like this very dense, sticky toffee. This very typical English fudge, which also comes to mind. It is very nice. It has this very like dense, sweet smells to it. But next to it also had like what you mentioned, like the apricot and the stuff like that. It really has this floral and fruity note. Very interesting.
I like it because for someone who doesn't really like whiskey, for example, if you like cognac or if you like rum, you can find some of the flavors inside the whiskey. And even
from cognac and rum, you mean?
Yeah. Like for example, the grape flavor, you'll find it in cognac. And for the rum, you'll find some soft spices. And like a tonka bean or the toffee, you can find this kind of flavors.
I'm very interested. It smells very good. I'm just looking forward to a taste.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. And there is a hint of cereal, of malted barley as well, by the nose.
Very sweet. It also has this very typical honeycomb flavor to it.
Yeah, I have like notes of plum eau de vie by the mouth.
I'm not very well learned in the art of eau de vie, so I'm so sorry. You mentioned eau de vie, like for people maybe in the Netherlands who never heard of it. Like, can you explain what an eau de vie is?
Yeah, it's mostly an alcohol made with fruit.
Okay.
Well, eau de vie actually is usually in French we say eau de vie for fruit, but the new make spirit of a whiskey, it's an eau de vie.
Okay.
It means the water of life. It's super poetic, and it's the product of the distillation.
Okay.
But in France, it's eau de vie means more for the fruit part. like brandies.
All right, so different types of brandies, all like okay.
Yeah, and you can make eau de vie with almost everything.
Everything that has sugar in it.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It also the taste. You have like these jams and these marmalades, these fruit marmalades, but it's more dense. It's more heavy and more intense than what a marmalade would be. Would you describe the mouthfeel as this dry taste, which many people might assume with a Chardonnay?
The dry taste, I think it's more the wood part for me.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Very nice. And is this like for people at home, like how much would a bottle in retail cost for the people at home?
It costs 50 euros, so 50. Yeah, in France.
All right. And so this is basically the core range, the one that's constantly available.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
I was telling you, so this product is our main bottle, but also we've got different types of product coming into the market this year.
Okay.
We will have a product called vendange. Vendange means the harvest of the grape. You know, it's in September when we cut all the grapes to produce the wine, okay? And the whiskey core vendange will be small batches and aged in one types of cask from a winemaker, okay? So it could be a Chardonnay, it could be a Sauvignon, it could be a Sauterne, but it will be only one types of a barrel.
Really cool.
Okay. 5 to 6 years old, and the next one will be a Sauterne.
Oh,
yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
Yes.
Could you, like, a Sauterne is like, if I'm not mistaken, a dessert wine?
Kinda. It's associated to a dessert because it's a soft. It's actually a late harvest, I'd say. You know, you let the grapes on the
dry them on the vines.
Exactly, and there is this mushroom which is called Botrytis cinerea. In French, we say la pourriture noble. And you let this mushroom dry a bit the grape, and there is only sugar. It left only sugar in the grape, and then you press it and you make the wine, and it gives a sweet wine, natural sweet wine.
Okay, and that's the Sauterne.
Yeah, that's the Sauterne, and it's produced in near Bordeaux.
Okay, so that's coming up next. Really nice.
Yes.
Is it only available in France, or is it also available in the rest of Europe?
It will be available in Europe also. Yeah.
Nice. Really looking forward to it.
Yes.
I was just wondering, like, before I started to host whiskey tasting, whenever somebody would ask me, like, what do French people drink? I would say like wine or maybe cognac. But currently, France is the biggest importer of Scotch whiskey currently. Why do you think that so many, like, you guys have so many great drinks, but why do you like still drink like whiskey, like Scotch whiskey, and also now French whiskeys?
Well, I'm gonna begin by the history. Like, why did we start to drink whiskey besides of cognac? We used to drink lots of cognac and Armagnac, which are brandies, so made with a grape and then distilled and then aged in casks. Okay, but then a disease came, which is called phylloxera, and the disease came in all the vineyard in France, so we stopped producing all the brandies and also all the wine, and this is how we started to import whiskey.
Okay,
because it's also a spirit aged in a cask, so it has some flavors in common, and this is how we begin to drink this and to import Scotch as well.
And it always stuck.
Yeah, right now, like 98% of the production of cognac goes to the exporter, like to China or to US market. We don't drink it, so we kept drinking Scotch, which is fine by me.
Okay. And if Scotch is so important, is it also important to try to recreate Scotch whiskey? in France, or is it important to create like your own French style of
Yeah, I
whiskey?
don't think we're trying to recreate what Scotch do. Really good stuff, okay? Because in France we grow lots of cereal. We are one of the most important cereal grower in Europe, okay?
Okay.
Also, we know how to distill, and we produce a pot still, and we have lots of wood available, and we are well known for the production of cask. And we are a huge whiskey drinker, so we've got all the recipe to make some. So we started to make whiskey officially in 1984. It was la distillerie Waregem, which is in Bretagne, in La Bretagne. Okay. The whiskey is called Armorique, and so they start to make a blend which was called WB as Whiskey Breton.
Okay.
And in France, we're not trying to make Scotch as Scotland do. We're more like, for example, Ninkasi, our thing is to age it in our types of cask. So we do not import ex-bourbon cask or sherry cask. We will take some ex-cognac cask, for example, or ex-wine cask from France. We do have some oxidative wine in France, so we don't need to buy them from yeah, exactly. So we will make something for sure different.
And what I was wondering, like you guys have a brewery before you started distilling, but still, like when we talking, like when I'm browsing the website or when I'm talking to you, I constantly hear like wine casks. Why is there no Ninkasi on beer casks?
There will be.
Okay.
There will be. Actually, there is some beers aged in a whiskey's cask, but we didn't put any whiskey right now into a beer cask. But I'm sure there will be.
I was just wondering because like I can imagine like if you have an own brewery and you produce your own craft beer, you might have a few casks hanging around, perhaps.
Yes. We do. So, but we age the beers into the cask for like depending to three months to 9. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but before they were whiskey, and the whiskey with the power of alcohol goes deeper into the wood. So the beer just come into like small thin part. So if you put back whiskey, I'm not sure you will have lots of beer flavor left. Yeah.
So you might as well like age a beer in a cask for a very long time to have it really saturated wood, but then it would be probably not a very good beer anymore. So that's
exactly yeah. Or we need to put lots of beers into the casks, but the beer won't have the flavor we want. So
yeah.
Or it could be marketing, but we don't do that. So
I totally get it. You mentioned like you guys have a lot of stuff like cafes and bars which you can visit, but can I also visit the brewery and the distillery itself?
Well, actually, you can visit the brewery, but not the distillery anymore because we moved on to another place, and there's only people like professionals who are allowed to visit.
That's a shame. But how many casks are you currently are you guys aging at the moment?
500.
Nice. Okay. So there's lots of great things coming. Hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
If we talk about like future, if you see like we can buy some beer, some gin, some vodka, some eau de vie and whiskey from you guys, are you planning on expanding that as well?
No, well, I want to focus on whiskey.
Okay.
And Ninkasi as well. We need to focus on beers and whiskey. There is so many things to make in whiskey, and we've got lots of incredible core products who will be on the market pretty soon. So we need to focus on this because the market right now, there is lots of things to do in France. La category of French whiskey like people starting to think that French whiskey is something just now. So we want to show to the world, like I mean other country, that there is something happening in France. So I say that Waregem started to distill in 1984. Till 2000 there were only maybe 20 or 30 distillery, and right now we are 200.
Oh wow.
So it's a lot. 200, 100. No, I made a mistake, just 100.
Okay.
But still
Still a lot, yeah.
still a lot.
And what do you feel like is this category? Like we see like Scotland compared to France is a very small country, but still it has all these different regions. Do you think that we will also see this anytime soon in France, that we have different whiskey regions?
Yeah, there is how's it called, like kind of a label.
Okay.
In Brittany there is a l'IG, we call it, indication géographique, which protect the whiskey from La Bretagne, Brittany, and there is one from Alsace also.
Okay.
So yeah.
Really?
There will be because in Alsace they used to make actually eau de vie. It's it's near Germany and on the east part, on the north, and it's a region well known for plum, for different types of eau de vie, and La Bretagne is also well known to distill pommeau or this kind of drinks, but they've got really different types of still, of cask.
So it's a very different style of whiskey.
Yeah.
All right. And from Ninkasi, like you mentioned, the Sauterne cask, perhaps maybe some beer cask. But what do you feel like people here in the Netherlands or anywhere else in Europe, where should they keep their eyes open for? Like what is coming up which they shouldn't miss?
Right now we've got this new core which is called Saison. So season, and the approach is that we wanted to enter and to give to people, to offer to people a voyage, a travel into a season in France. Right. So the one we just put on the market is called La Cuvée de Printemps.
Okay.
Okay, and it's first aging in an ex-cognac cask and then a finish in an ex-wine cask from the region of the Rhône. And it's white wine from Yves Cuiron, which is really well known and with an extraordinary quality of product in the region near Condrieu. And it's super floral, extremely fresh, and the fresh fruits with a hint of like a soft touch, like the pastry you can find in all the Ninkasi whiskey products. I really love it because it's really, you're traveling into I don't know, a verger, you know, I don't have the word in English, but like some place where you grow flowers and trees with fruits. It's really sensorial whiskey.
Really, it sounds like a small little holiday in France. It's really amazing. Very cool. Lilya, thank you so much for your time. If people want to stay in touch and follow everything you guys are doing, how can they keep in touch?
Well, we are on Instagram, on LinkedIn, we are trying to do stuff on TikTok as well.
Okay.
Also, we have a kind of a small series which is called Ninkasi Stories. Okay, it's a media mark, and there is a program on the whiskey which is called Lilya, as my name in the sky.
Yes.
And I travel in all France to discover the person who are behind the production of whiskey. For example, the last one was about the malting part. Okay, the one before it was with the still, It was at the Chalvignac in the Cognac region with our producers of Alambic. I went to see a wine grower to understand the impact of the wine into the whiskey. Well, if you want to know more about French way to make whiskey, you should check that.
I've seen 2 episodes, and it was very nice to see you travel all through France. Got me a bit jealous sitting here in rainy Holland, but sometimes it is what it is. Thank you so much for your time. We will be leaving in the show notes on the episode and in the description on YouTube. We will be leaving links to those video shows, so you can watch some more about French whiskey after this. Lilya, thank you so much. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this beautiful whiskey. I was very interested, intrigued in to see how a French beer brewer turned whiskey maker. Very nice that you would guide me through this whole story, and I'm looking forward to explore the seasons of France. So thank you so much, and cheers.
A big pleasure. Cheers.
Hey Max.
Hello Lucia.
Hey.
Yeah, we got some great news. This episode is brought to you by Barrel Tea.
What's barrel tea?
Barrel tea, the name suggests it's tea, but there's no tea leaves in it at all. You got 4 flavors: Scotch, rum, bourbon, and cognac.
But how do they get these flavors?
Now, they take the barrels where the spirits have been aged in, and then they just crush them up to these small little wood fragments. They put it in a bag, and so you can just use them like a regular old tea bag. Put them into your hot water so they can infuse, and they'll give you a nice warm cup of spirit-flavored tea. And it's so amazing.
It's perfect for if you do want the flavor and the smell, but you do not feel like drinking alcohol.
Exactly. Or if you need to work, it's a completely legal way to still have the flavors of spirits, but be behind your desk doing your work. It's really amazing.
And it's lovely.
It really has the flavors of your favorite spirit. It has this very nice complexity, and it's amazing. This year in 2023, at the London Spirits Competition, they won silver in the category non-alcoholic spirits. So
they did.
It's even
that's amazing.
Even professionals really do love barrel tea. I'm really happy that they sponsored this episode.
So if you want to explore barrel tea, or if you want to know more about it, if you do want to buy it, go to barrel-tea.com. You can buy the tea online in 12 different countries.
Yes. And I'm so sad, my cup is almost empty.
Oh no! Would you like me to make you some more?
Yes, please.
All right.